Mr. Trufan, and in today's experiment, we're going to make a spectrometer. For this experiment, we're going to need a couple very simple and straightforward materials. First, we're going to begin with a toilet paper roll insert, a ruler, a piece of black matte paper, a piece of black paper, a marker of some kind, a CD. You can use a DVD, but it doesn't work as well, so I recommend for this experiment to only use a CD. You're going to need a box cutter, a pair of scissors, some black masking tape, and some kind of light source. And it may be enough to use the sunlight or the room light as your source, but for today's experiment, I will be using a discharge tube. And here I have a tube that is filled with helium, and it is only appropriate that I use helium to demonstrate this because helium was first discovered through spectroscopy in the sun. So for us to get started, we're going to begin with our black matte paper. We're going to place it in front of us. Take our toilet paper roll and trace 2 circles on the matte paper. They can be pretty close together. Once we traced our circles, the next step is to take our box cutter and cut them out. I have my 2 lids, and these will go on the 2 ends of my toilet paper roll, but not in their current. For one of them, I am going to take my ruler, place it somewhere around the middle, take my box cutter, and then trace a small line that is going to be as straight as we can get it. And then I move my ruler just a little bit and then trace another line until the line is just wide enough for a very thin sliver of light to pass through. Here I have one that I already prepared, and we see that there is a very thin sliver through which the light can pass. For the second piece that we created, we're going to mark a square. And for that, we can use our ruler or we can draw it by hand. It doesn't really matter, because the difficult part here is to use our box cutter and cut as good of a square as we can from this piece of paper. And I have a decent sized square cut out here. To cover up this square, we're going to use a piece of CD. But not like this, because this will not allow any light to go through. We will need to remove this protective layer. So we can use some masking tape, or we can use some Scotch tape to do this. We cut off a piece, and then using the tape, we will need to remove as much of the coating as we can. When we have a sufficiently large area uncovered, then we're going to take our piece of CD and we're going to match it slightly to our hole that we created in our cover. And then we can create a slightly smaller than the hole square on it, and then do our best to cut it without harming the rest of the CD piece. And I have a reasonably square looking window here. I will place this on the back of my opening, and I will use the black masking tape to cover the sides so that they stick to the piece of cardboard. With all our sides covered, this is what it should look like. Now we are ready to assemble. Next, we take our piece of toilet paper roll insert. We're going to take a black piece of paper and we're going to roll it up. We're going to mark where the 2 ends meet as the roll is complete. And then we're going to mark where the roll ends. so that when we create a rectangular shape by drawing two lines, one at the end of the toilet paper roll and one where the ends met, that will entirely cover our piece of toilet paper roll. And we will cut this rectangular shape out. For a spectrometer, the most important part is to make sure that there is no light that we don't want on the inside. So we're going to take our piece of paper, roll it up into a roll, and then slide it on the inside of our toilet paper roll. And now the insides are completely darkened. We're going to take a small piece of our black masking tape, cut it, and then make sure that the edges are taped together and that it is no longer going to move. We tape it on one end and on the other. And with that, when we look through it, all we see is darkness. And that's perfect. Next, we're going to take the lid that has the slit on it. We're going to place it on one end. And then we're going to take our masking tape, cut off a sufficiently large piece so that it goes around it. And then tape it all around. This way, we're going to keep any uninvited light away. To close the seams, we're going to add small slits into our masking tape and then fold it in. And we need to do that in such a way that it doesn't cover the porthole that we spend so much effort creating. So this is what it looks like on the one side. On the other side, it's still completely open. So for that, we're going to first align our opening, which is this. So we're going to just place it to the other end, turn on our light source, and then we will rotate our window, not our toilet paper roll. That is going to have the slit going from top to bottom. And that slit will be looking at the light. On the other side, we are going to rotate our window until we see either a spectrum if we're looking at ambient light, or a row of colors if we're looking at a discharge tube. So let's turn on the light. Here we have it. I am going to look at it so that I can see the light through the peephole. And then on the edge, I should see the spectrum of helium show up. And when I see the lines appear distinctly, I'm going to stop turning, hold my keyhole in position, take my masking tape, and relatively quickly fix it in position. And I'm going to do the same thing that I've done before. Roll the tape around the rim. Make sure to go all around. When it is covered, add a few slits. And then stabilize the connection. From there, now that I have a functional spectrometer, I can point it at various light sources and I can record whether they are going to generate a spectrum that is a continuous spectrum, like in the case of ambient light or sunlight, or if we're going to get a line spectrum, which is the case for helium and other elements that may be confined into a discharge tube.